Hey Judy, one more time. I hope the rain has stopped. We had quite a storm here, and that must be what knocked me off the last time. So we got about what, 4 minutes until I said I was going to get started, maybe 3. So hopefully some people will be able to join back again. Hey April. One more time. Yeah, let me turn my volume down. From Illinois, okay. Cool. Judy, where are you from? So this is supposed to start at 4 o'clock because I've been bumped off so many times today. Hopefully the people that were here earlier will be able to come back. I'm going to be explaining how to get the Cameo 4 for free in the drawing that I'm going to have. It was supposed to end tonight at 11:59 Eastern Standard Time, but I think I'll push that back since so many people haven't been able to be here because of my errors. And I'll change it to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow. So there's my little guy that I'm going to show you how to make. Hey, Craft, I'm from North Carolina too. So the drawing is going to be, well, it's not going to be held tomorrow, but the final time that you can put in your entries will be at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow. Hey again, Deanna. Wow. A lot of North Carolinians. Hey, I don't know if you guys are anywhere near me, but I'm in the western part. We just had a horrible storm. Like really high winds and lightning and thundering. I'm in the western part. So hopefully some more people will be joining us shortly. Because as I said, I was going to start this around right at 4 o'clock after I got bumped off the last time. So, this is what we're going to work on today. I'm going to show you how to turn here. See, I don't know where Leland is. But I'm going to show how to make this guy here. Is that Linus, I believe, right? The one I made, I didn't have the proper color. From England, Jules. Hey, cool. Hello from Illinois. Veronica and Jules and Judy. Lucretia. Yay. Hey, Lucy from New Jersey. Ah, you're in the Charlotte area, so you're on the opposite side of the state. So I bet y'all didn't have that big old storm that we just had. And I hope it doesn't come back again. If by any chance it comes back again and I get bumped offline and you want to know how to enter for the contest, I'll have the information down below this video. So, hey Lori. Mary Evans. I may have to leave soon. Oh, from Columbus, Ohio. OH. So my nephews went to Ohio State. My husband went to Kent State. I went to the University of Akron. So we're from up that way. Hey Betsy, thanks for coming back. We had a really bad storm with high winds and lightning and thundering, so I'm sure that's what knocked me off this last time. I'm not sure it's all gone from the area, so if I should get knocked off again, I'll have the information for you below about joining the contest. But other than that, you'll have to wait till the end. And if by chance you can't stick around and wait till the end, you can always rewatch it later and you'll get the same info. So let's see, what time is it? 4:02. All right, let's see. So we got 19 people here. That's pretty good. Hey, Betsy from Virginia. I didn't realize you were from Virginia. Yep. Well, actually, I was I was raised in the suburbs of Pittsburgh, and then when I graduated high school, I moved to Kent, Ohio, and from there we got transferred to South Carolina for 20 some years, and now I'm up in North Carolina. So yeah, but I do know how to say OH. Yay, Chow. Glad to see you're back. Okay. Excuse me. All right, just gonna get a little more something to drink in case I start choking, and then we'll get ready to start again. And I'll just start with Linus again in the very beginning, in case some of you are new and weren't here the first time around or two. So we're gonna work on this guy right here, and I'm gonna work on making him an SVG, because I think you may have seen this. I didn't have all the exact colors I should have had for his face, but you can see he turned out pretty cute. He could be in an arrangement or a wall decoration, or as I suggested earlier, I suggest that you make it maybe 15 inches tall instead of 10, because some of these pieces, which I didn't use them in his fingers because I couldn't, I'll show you what I did. I'm from the western part of North Carolina, in the mountains. Anyway, I was saying this to some people before they got here. You only see the Cameo machine. What? You only see the Cameo machine? I hope you all see what I'm showing on my desktop. Huh. All right, well, anyway, for those of you didn't get it. Okay, Chow. So I've decided to push back the time that you have to enter the contest until 9 p.m. tomorrow night. So 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, because that's my time zone, October 1st, 2019. You'll have that time to, cool, Tammy, thank you. You'll have that time to enter, and I'll remind you again about that in a little bit. So let's look back up here, Linus. Here he is, and I'm going to show you how to make this into an SVG. So here he is, he's cute as can be, and you can make him say something else. I made mine say, I believe in the great pumpkin, but of course that probably would be more so Charlie Brown saying that. That is Linus, right? Anyway, oh good, child, great. All right, so the first thing that you have to do to use this is to, yep, pink sticky, yep, okay. The first thing you have to do is just come over here to the trace tool, which looks like a piece of toast to me. Trace and toast both start with a T, so I can know the toast one's the trace. Click on that to open the trace panel, and here it is. And I'm going to go ahead and select the trace area by clicking on this part right here. Then I'm going to come over and just draw a box. Now, just like I had said before, but if you weren't in the earlier class, you can see that his shirt got totally filled in, which might be okay. I might have liked it better like that, because the little tiny pieces that I ended up having to work with were really a pain. But maybe you're used to using little tiny pieces of cardstock. I just wasn't. So what I've been using actually to help me is, let's see if I can do this, are these things. I think they're hemostats, if you can see. So I can pick up stuff, you know, the little tiny pieces, and hold them and get some glue on them and put them down. And I actually kind of liked using these better than I did using the tweezers. But anyway, I used it for like these little tiny pieces on his shirt, and it was supposed to be his little tiny fingers, but as I said, I couldn't get those little things to work. And so that's why I would recommend that you do a larger version of him than what I had done. All right, so as you can see, his shirt right here up on my screen is all one solid color, and it's really not supposed to be. So what I would do is I would back the threshold off. So if you see right here where I'm clicking on these two little things, I have solid fill selected, and I'm going to come down to the button right below it where it says threshold, and I'm going to back that off a little bit. And as I had said earlier in the last part of this class we had started, if you back it off to the left a little bit, watch what happens to his shirt over there as well as this little leaf right here. So I can move it over closer and move him over too. All right, so I'm going to back this off a little bit. And look what happened. You see that? I can now see the stripes in his shirt, and I can see the outline of this flower, and I can also see the little marks that are supposed to go in this flower or leaf. I'm missing one here, I notice. So I wonder if I make my threshold up just, or change it just a little bit more. Nah, I'm not going to worry about that one. So I'm just going to leave it where it was. Just like that looks pretty good to me. Maybe, okay, that's no good. So I'm just playing around with the threshold button right here, the slider. And 40 works pretty good for me. Yeah, hey Kathy, me too. Glad you made it. So this looks pretty good to me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit trace. Now you may be noticing that this outer circle right here is not being traced, but I don't really care about that at all because I was just going to delete it if it did trace. So I'm just going to say trace, and I'm going to move the colored version over to the left and move my traced version to the right. And let's see, I should probably just go ahead and make it smaller altogether so it'll fit nicely on my mat. And then I'll scroll in using this. So we have a nice white background behind him. So let me move the colored version. Whoops, both hooked together still. The colored over. And this one back here. And by the way, if you have any friends that you'd like to invite, please invite them and let them come watch the tutorial and then learn how to get a chance to win the Cameo 4, which I upgraded. I was just going to do the Cameo 3, but I decided, heck, you know, you guys have been wonderful supporters, my patrons, those of you who come to the live versions that I have here on YouTube, or watch my YouTube videos and give me a thumbs up. Hopefully you're not the one giving me the thumbs down because of my coffee drinking, but anyway, so let's continue on. Anyway, the giveaway is for a Cameo 4. So as you know, the first thing that I always recommend that you do when you're doing a trace is you just come up here, grab on this thing, and then come up here to the upper left-hand corner where there's the color palette. From Houston and Florida, cool. All right, and then I just choose a color here that I'm not using, probably not using in my final version. So probably a good one to pick would be purple. I'll make it a medium purple so that you can see it easily. All right, so there it is. So that's the first thing you do when you're starting to make an SVG. And again, if you're here and you're a Cricut person, this is how you can make SVGs that you can use with your Cricut machine, even though you're using Silhouette software. So now we've done that, and the next thing we need to do is just come up here to where it says Object, near the very top, up here, Object, and I'll scroll down till I get to Release Compound Path. And when I click on Release Compound Path, what that's going to do is it's going to make a whole bunch of little boxes all over him. And that's going to allow us to color him how we'd like to. You know, I can make his shirt blue if I want to. I can make it any color I want. But I'm going to Release Compound Path now. And I'm going to, okay, phew, I get a little bit worried. Now I see that little circle. Perfect. This is exactly what we want. So you may be wondering, well, why did I make it black? Because all these pieces behind here were going to be black. And the reason why I don't is because it would make it too hard for me to see what I'm going to be coloring. So I'm going to click off of this for a minute. And I actually could have probably stood to make it just a little tiny bit lighter. So maybe I will do that. I'm going to grab all this again. And I think I'll come up here and make it a little lighter color of a purple. And I accidentally had both grabbed. So I have to undo, move him over there, and just grab this guy and make him a lighter purple. Okay, that's a little bit better for me. I don't know if it is for you, but I can see clearly now where I want to color. So this is just kind of like a little coloring book thing. So let's start with his face again, I guess. I'll get his face, And if I look over here at my original, I see that not only is his face fleshy colored, but obviously his arm, his other arm, and his fingers. So I'm going to click on his face, hold down my shift key, click on his arm, hold down, while I'm still holding down my shift key, click on his other arm, and then click on his little fingers, and you might need to scroll in to be able to see them. I think I got them all. Oh, and I know from trial and error that I have one more piece I need to click, and that would be his ear. So I'm going to click on that. I think I have it all now. So now I'm going to come up here to the purpley side, this part. Sorry. And I want to get the flesh color, and I want to make sure I get it exactly the same color as he is here in my sample. So if I click up here, and I come over here to the eyedropper, it's way over here on the right hand side. It's kind of hard to tell now in this updated version, but it's over here. Click on that eyedropper, and then I can go over any color I want to, and it will pick it up. But I want the flesh, so I'm going to click on that, and it makes all of these pieces flesh colored, just exactly what I wanted. Perfect. Okay, I think the next thing I did, hopefully nobody calls my phone because this is about the time it happened, I think. I'm going to start getting the pumpkin, hold down my shift key, and grab all of these pumpkin-y pieces. And if you were here last time, you might remember that I forgot to get this little tiny circle in the middle. So this time I'm remembering it. I'm going to click on it as well. So I believe I have all the pumpkin pieces selected. I'm going to come up here again to the color swatch, get the eyedropper, and grab this color. Okay, perfect. Okay, let's see. I think I'll do his shirt next. Now I want you to scroll in and look at this little teeny weeny tiny piece of a shirt. Look at that. That's just like crazy, right? But we'll continue. So let's click on this first piece, hold down the shift key, grab this one, get this little teeny weeny one, and grab this one, all of these ones that I know are pieces of his shirt. Okay, and if you make him smaller than 10 inches tall, you probably won't be able to glue this guy together at all. However, if you decide you're making him out of HTV or just regular vinyl, he'd be perfect. You don't need to worry about picking up the little pieces. So if you're doing it out of cardstock, though, I do not recommend you get any lower than 10 inches. It's not raining, you're right. I didn't take it away, but I threatened him. Okay, let's see. Okay, so I have all of those selected. I'm going to come up here again. He's a good guy. He really, truly is. He just forgot. He thought he was helping. Anyway, he doesn't know anything about how to run any of this stuff, though, so he really can't help me down here at all. So, anyway, turn this to red. There we go. And let's scroll back out for a sec, see what else we got to go on. So I decided, well, I'll go ahead and make it. I'm going to make this flower down here, the orangey color one, so I'll make it the same orangey color. So I'm going to click on this one. And notice I got the nodes this time. I don't want those nodes or the point editing. And you can tell that's what I have because this little box up here got highlighted. So to get rid of those nodes or the point editing, all I have to do is click the V as in Victor on my keyboard, just the V, or I could come up here and select the select arrow again. Either one works, but I get kind of lazy, and rather than having to come up here to do that, I just rather hit the V on my keyboard and it did it for me. And now I can change its color to this orange color by again coming to the swatch, the eyedropper, and the flower. Very good. All right. So while we're on a flowery roll, I guess those are probably leaves. Anyway, I'm going to get the other ones. So this one's a light green, and look, it didn't get the whole thing because these are enclosed shapes here. So I have to hold down my shift key and get this other little part, and then come over here and get this one. And here again I have two little shapes. Here's this little shape right here, I'll click on that, and then there's this other shape right here that's supposed to be the same green, so I'll click on that. Then once again, I'll just come up to the color palette, get the eyedropper, and get this color here. All right, so let's see. Let's do this. To me, it looks like a lily pad, but I know it's not. We'll get this little mound of greenery, green grass, I guess. Come up here to the color swatch, the eyedropper, and grab this green color. Okay, it's looking pretty good, right? I think right about now we can probably go ahead and make the background green. So I'm just gonna grab the outermost part of it so that, notice there's that box all the way around it. And you remember the original color I used was purple. So I can tell because the box goes around the whole outer edge and this little thing up here is purple. So all I'm going to do now is I'm going to change it to black because I want to see how it's going to look. Okay, it's looking pretty good, right? There are a few issues, and I know how to fix this one really easily. See this right here? I don't want this to be totally cut out. And if you look down here, you can see that mine's not totally cut out. I left a piece of black there just because I thought it would make him be more stable if it had that, and especially if I was making a big one. So to leave that little piece of black there, all I have to do, believe it or not, is take this piece and drag it out. And there's my black from behind. So I can delete this piece. Same thing with this one. All I have to do is drag this out and it's gone. Click on it, delete. So let me show you what we got with this black piece that's underneath. I'm going to drag it out. Look at that. That's the black piece underneath onto which we can build all of this. Of course, you wouldn't need to have that if you were putting him on a black t-shirt or something like that. But if I'm going to build him out of cardstock, I do need something to build him out of. Now, I don't know if you noticed this. You see the way his hair is up here in this sample? In the original one over here on the left? I can't do that with little teeny strands of paper hair. So I'm going to get rid of those totally. And the way I'm going to do that is by using the knife tool. So the knife tool's over here. I'm going to click on the knife tool. Oh, but first, before I do that, I better scroll in so I can see more clearly what I'm doing. Okay, there we go. Now I have the knife tool. And I'm going to leave it on, let's see, what should I do? I'll leave it on poly, I think. Let's check that out. So from Germany, wow. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start right down here near his ear. And I'm just going to start with my knife tool and drawing. You see, every time I click my mouse, it leaves like a little node. So I'm just drawing along here because I'm getting rid of those extra strands of hair because they are not going to work with my cardstock. If I was doing vinyl and I made this larger, they may work. I'm getting rid of them. But the unfortunate thing is I wasn't exactly sure what to do over here. Because I love those little strands of his hair that come poking out. You know what you could probably do if you were doing cardstock is just add some of those like three-dimensional. But for right now, what I did was I just went ahead and cut them right off, unfortunately. So like that. Oops, I got to double click when I'm done. And I did not have auto apply checked. So nothing has happened yet. So I can click apply. And you can see what's happened. This I can get rid of now. Delete. It looks kind of crazy, right? So all these little tiny pieces now, I can just pile them all together and delete them all. I think he looks kind of funny, but actually when you see him, you know, from afar, or really he doesn't. He looks normal. But again, you could add some hair to him with some little pieces of cardstock. That'd probably be kind of cool to add 3-dimension. I'm just going to get all that and just say delete. All right, so now this here is a problem, but not too much of a problem. So what I'm going to do is, oh no, Stephanie, I'm sorry. Hunt the video. It's like an Easter egg hunt. All right. So I'm going to get rid of these strands right here, these long strands. And to do that, what I'm going to do is double click, I think. Yeah, there we go. Double click and I get the nodes. Let's scroll in and you can see them even better. There are these little nodes, little square boxes, also known as, what are they called? Points? Yeah, endpoints. Okay, so what I can do is once my little mouse goes from my hand to a little square with like these lines coming through it, that means I can edit some nodes. And the one I click on, see how it turns white? That's the one that's editable. So I'm just going to hit delete on my keyboard. Notice this one is now the editable one, and it just keeps going down closer and closer to the area I want to get rid of. But now I'm not going to hit delete anymore because I'm done at that point. I'm going to come back out here to the very tip and start again. Now that went there. Hopefully you know what I mean. I'm going to come back out here. I want to get rid of this node, and then this node, and then this node. So I'm just clicking on them to turn them white so they're active, and then I hit enter, or delete, I'm sorry, and it gets rid of it. So I could do the same thing here. If I want to, there is a little quicker way to get rid of some of these. I can hold down the shift key and grab a bunch of them at one time and say delete. So I held down my shift key and I went over a bunch. And now this one is white, so it's the active node, so I'm going to delete it just like that. All right, this part wasn't going to be as easy for me to remove, so I decided just to leave it there for this little class. So let's scroll back out, and he looks a little bit funny, doesn't he, without his hairdo, but what are you going to do? If I put his thing down like that a little bit better, it looks a little better. But again, like I said, you can add some yarn or some string or something. That'd be kind of cute. So anyway, yeah, the node's your favorite. All right, so let's see, what do we got to do about his eyes? Let's drag his head over for a second. Notice his head doesn't have any holes right here where his eyes and his nose and those things go. So it looks like we need to cut out teeny weeny, almost microscopic pieces to fit there. But no, you don't have to do that. All you have to do is come over here, click on the one thing that you want to change, hold down your shift key, click on the thing that's right behind it, which in this case is his face. And once you have those two things selected, come over here to the modify panel. It's a rectangle and a circle. The modify panel, if you hover over it, it will say the word modify panel. Click on that. And I'm going to drag it over here because I'm going to use it a little bit. And I'm just going to say subtract. And when I subtract, watch what happens. Okay, see that? Now look what happens when I drag this over. Suddenly it made this little hole right here, this little slit. And so instead of having to cut that little tiny piece out and try to glue it on, it's cut out of the flesh color, and the black of his face shows through perfectly. Okay, so I'm going to do it now on this eyebrow. I grab the eyebrow, hold the shift key, grab the flesh tone, and subtract. Okay, so now I have two little slits made. So I could continue on like that one at a time, or if I want to, I will click on the eyeball, hold down my shift key, grab the nose, holding down my shift key still, I'm grabbing all these purpley colors. The last thing I'm going to click on is the flesh tone. Click on that. My shift key is still being held down. And now I'm going to come over here and say subtract. Okay, so let's see what we got when we move his face over. Look at that. All of those pieces have just been cut out, so we don't have to do anything over here as far as cutting out little tiny black slivers and putting them on top of the flesh tone. I love that. Okay, let's scroll back out. What else do we have to do? Let's see. Okay, so the other thing I decided to do on mine, because I didn't feel it was really necessary, it's up to you, you know, if you want to do this. What I did was I just picked this piece right here off and deleted it. And so I picked these pieces off. I'd forgotten this part. and I just deleted those. Delete. So now what I can do is just kind of, well, I gotta leave that where it was because of his ear. But if I want to and keep these same words, right now if you look at it, it's just a plain purple piece like this, and then these are purple pieces that are cut out on top. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the W, hold down the shift key and click on the purple, and then I'm going to hit subtract. Yes, don't forget to watch the replay, Jules, because you got it by my time. What did I say? 9 p.m. tomorrow evening. Make sure you sign up for the drawing. So it'll be at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here. All right, so I'll do the E, hold down the shift key, get the sign, and subtract. So again, just like I did before, I can do a bunch of these at one time. Get the L, hold down my shift key, get the C, and the O, and the M, and the E. Now you're going to notice something I'm also going to have to get as soon as I finish this part. Gonna hold down the purple, say subtract. Oh, I thought I was gonna have to get rid of, I am gonna have to do something with the O, look at that. So, we'll see about that in a minute. No, we'll wanna keep that. Okay, so I'm doing this backwards from, or not the same way that I had done my sample one. But we'll just keep on going, because this will work too. Hold down the G, or click on the G, hold down the shift, get the R, E, A, D, and the purple, and subtract. And once again, get the P, shift, U, M, P, K, I, N, purple, subtract. Okay, that looks like that's pretty much all we have to do, except for that I'm seeing, well, a couple things. I got to change this down here in this flower, because look, the purple's there. If I click on that purpley piece, hold down my shift, and click on the orange part of the leaf, and say subtract. There we go, perfect, just what we need. So that subtracted it out. See that? Can you see how you can now see through where that slit is? So put it right back. And there's a funny piece right here. I have no idea what that is. Oh my gosh, I think that's a little tiny piece of the pumpkin. That's a little bit of a pain in the neck. Looky there. We'll change it to pumpkin color. So now in the newer version, 4.3 I think it is, all of the colors that we used most recently are up here in a row. So now I don't have to use my eyedropper. I can just grab the color that I know I used, and it was this one for the pumpkin. There we go. And let's scroll back out. Let's see. Okay, it looks pretty good. Uh-oh! What did I do to the P? Whoopsie. Okay, I'm going to grab the P and the purple. I'm going to subtract and see what happens. Okay, so that's fine. So, since I messed that up, what can I do? Well, easy peasy. I see another P right here. I can just grab that inner part of that P, hold down the Alt on my keyboard. Oh, why is it not doing? There we go. And it turns into a plus sign. If you notice, it goes from a hand to a plus sign. That means I'm going to duplicate it. There are other ways to duplicate. You could hold down or do Control on your keyboard and the letter D as in duplicate. But I have gotten into the habit of doing Alt and just dragging one over. So there. Hey, that's not right still, is it? Yeah, that's pretty good. That's fine. It'll do. All right, so there we go. Welcome, Great Pumpkin. And what I could have done actually was just gone ahead and gotten rid of that whole P altogether and just duplicated this P. But we'll just leave it like that for now. There's just a couple more things to do, and that is to grab the little stand, right, or the little handle, the little whatever you call it, stick. Grab the top part, shift, grab the bottom part. Now the brown's not up here yet, but I can make it any brown I like. There we go. And the other thing was I like to make my sign a different color. So I'll just make it, I don't like the color they use, but I'll go ahead and use it. Yeah, there. And so now I'll have to get the inside of these letters. So click, shift, and grab these insides so that I can change them. And again, these are all the colors that I've just used, and the most recent one I just used is on the far left, so it's right here. Perfect. So that's pretty much it. He sure does look goofy though. He looks like a little old bald man to me. So you might want to doctor up his hair, like I said, with some little extra pieces if you're doing it in cardstock. If you're doing it in vinyl, not a problem. Okay, so let's get rid of this guy right here now. I'm going to delete him because I think I finished everything. Does anybody see anything I've forgotten? I'm going to delete this while I wait to see if you guys noticed anything. I'm not seeing anything myself. So what I would do now is I would go ahead and delete not delete these, good gosh. I would go ahead and select these colors. So what you do is you come up here to Edit, up in the very upper left hand corner, Edit, Select by Color. Oops, I think I better, I pulled down a little thing first. Let's see. Let me group him first. So now I'm going to go to Edit and Select by Color. Why is my Select by Color not available? His hair looks really different because it's all smashed down to his head. Let's see. Why the Select by Color? Okay, for some reason my Select by Color is grayed out. Let me make sure that I have the business edition selected. Let me see over here. Let me try doing one myself first and just see what happens. And so I've got his face selected, hold down my shift key and grab his arms and his little tiny weeny little teeny fingers. And then I'm going to group all that together by hitting Control G, or if you don't like to do Control G, you can just come up here to this little icon, group selected shapes, and that grouped them all together, and there we go, are the selected shapes. Okay, so now I'm going to go to the fifth one over, grab the icon from the 5-op browser, from the top, Edit, Select by Color, Edit, Select by Color, Object. What are you saying, Tammy? For some reason, I'm usually able to select by color. I swear when I just did this, Edit, and for some reason the Select by Color is grayed out, and I'm not exactly sure why. So I'm just going to continue on doing it this way. Grab the icon from the top browser. I am. You mean this one? That Select by Color? Okay, there she goes. I usually go to Edit and Select by Color, but for some reason it's not letting me do that right now. So what I can do is come up here to the little thing that looks like a paint palette, and I've never had to do this thing before. I always use Edit and Select by Color, but now it's working. So you see where I went? I went up here to the paint palette, and then I could come over here. Usually it opens up and it says by fill. I forgot one finger. Oh, you're right. Look at his one little finger. Oh dear. Let me go back and get those. Poor guy. I'm sorry, little fella. All right. So like I said, usually it comes in by fill, or by line. So I'll change it by fill, and I'll do it the easier way now. So select by color, and it's not going to forget his finger or his ear. So there we go. It's all selected. Then I can just hit Control G on my keyboard. That should still work. Yeah. There we go. Did I get everybody? Yeah, I got his ear and his little finger. All right. So let's do his shirt now. Select by colors. That must be this red right here. Click on that. Control D for, no, Control G for group. Control and G for group. Bring them over. And again, if I don't want to do Control G, you don't have to. You can come up here to this little icon that's the group. So let's do the orange for the pumpkin now. I selected all those, and I'll come up here and do it. Group selected shapes. That, oh, you're glad I got his missing parts. Did you feel sorry for him? His little finger. All right, let's see. Now let's do the green. It's the greens. And I could do Control G or come up here again to this little icon, and that's group. There they are. And I guess I'll do the brown and Control G. And I really should do this tan color, because remember, even though we think maybe it's one big piece, it's really not. And I'm not sure if I fixed that A now that I'm looking, but we'll just continue on where we are. So let's see, which one is that? I think it's that, yep. And I'm going to hit Control G, and we're going to see, maybe I'm going to leave something behind. Yeah, I did. Left that little tiny piece of the A behind. That's okay. Pretend, well, you know what I needed to do? I needed to change its color. So let's go ahead and do that. It must not be the same color. Nope, look at that. It's the purpley color. So I need to change it so it's the same color, and it won't be left behind like his little finger was. So I just changed it to the same color by coming up to the paint swatch area and grabbing the color that I used that was up here in this line of recently used colors. Okay, I changed that. Scroll back out, and now select by color and Control G for group. And now I will have all of it perfectly just like that. Haven't left his little finger or the little part of the A behind. Let's scroll back out. So the black is all one piece, and this thing is all one piece, so we're good to go right like this. Okay, so now what I could do is I could just go ahead and make him as he is, but I'll tell you what, I would not, because I want to see what size he is. Okay, he's almost 9 inches tall. Mine was 10 inches tall, and I had a hard time with him. So if you, and the hand on mine's going to look really goofy when I show it to you again down here. But this is what I ended up doing, and this was just a sample. I'm always just making samples to try things. So what I did was I just duplicated this hand and kind of skinnied it up a little bit and just put it over here as if he was just saying like, ta-da, there it is, ta-da. You know, he's not actually holding this, because if you could see how big those little pieces were, I'm sure I threw them away by now. They were like a piece of, they were like, I don't know, a fourth, if that, of a peppercorn, that size. Not rounded, obviously, but that size of a peppercorn. Just teeny weeny. Just ridiculously small. So like I said, that's why I would encourage you to make yours, if you should make this, out of cardstock, to make it at least 15 inches tall. And putting it together, trying to figure out what went where, was interesting too for me. But those of you who have known me for a while know I have trouble with puzzles anyway. They're easy puzzles. And when all these pieces were actually little, wait, where does finger go? Look, it's still here. Oh no, I lost one. I must not have grouped it. And look, here's another one. See how tiny that is? Let me put it over here. Look how little that thing is. Seriously. Anyway, so let's group all this stuff together. I must not have grouped it when I moved it. Oops. All right, let's, oops. Come on. Why won't he move now? Let's try this one. There we go. Put that over there. Put this over. I'm seeing another stray piece right here. Was that another piece of a finger? His shirt was interesting to do. I'm not sure why he's not willing to move with me now. I'm going to ungroup it. Okay, there we go. Bring this over. Maybe that's just the little finger I needed right there. So then I don't know what these two little smidgeny pieces are. Oh, wait, one's his ear. Almost forgot that. What in the world is this one? Well, let's bring back our normal guy. Our completed fellow. Where'd he go? I deleted him. Oh, well, anyway. This is his stick that we put up in here in his hand, supposedly. Obviously, I don't have his shirt in the right place. There we go. Okay, so that's pretty much it for him. All you would have to do is go to make it. Just go to send it, and you would cut it by the different colors. So in with the Cameo, especially for those of you, or the one of you that's going to get the brand new one, if you've never had a Cameo before, you'll come over here, and you'll come to where it says by fill. And these are all of the colors that are used in your piece right here. So what I normally do is uncheck everything. And then what I can do is just go through here one by one and check things that I want to cut. So for example, if I wanted to start with the bottom color, the black, I could check that. And if I uncheck it, look over here. Notice that you'll see it. Oh, let me move, probably can't. Watch the black outline and see how it makes a little darker outline around. Do you see it? That's showing what's going to be cut. So right now it's going to be plain cardstock, and I just changed it accidentally to acetate. Let's go back to plain. And it's going to be the auto blade, because that's the blade you'll get with your new Cameo, is the auto blade. And it should set everything up perfectly. However, every place you buy cardstock, the cardstock is a little bit different. Some of it is really fibrous. I like the stuff I get that's, well, Tammy, you and I have both had it. It's kind of smoother. There certainly doesn't have a core to it. I don't like the white core stuff. But anyway, what I recommend you doing totally is always coming down here on the lower right-hand corner and do a test. And what that will do is it will cut a little square with a little triangle in between, and you can weed that and check to see if you have it on the right settings. If you don't have it on the right settings, you can adjust those. And I can show you how to do that, if you're confused when you get your Cameo. So anyway, once you're done with the black, then you can maybe cut the brown out if you want to. Now, it's going to cut right here on your mat. So if you want it to cut up in the upper left-hand corner of your mat, because that's where you put your little tiny piece of brown, you better move your little pieces up in that little left-hand corner. Okay. After you do your brown, choose another color that you want to do, maybe red. So you can bring all of his red shirts somewhere to cut. Okay. All right, so the other thing is I just wanted to show you really quickly. So if you were going to use this for Cricut Design Space, all you have to do is come up here to File, Save As, Save to Hard Drive, and right here where this blue is, where it says Untitled, you must make sure, well, obviously you need to name it, but the more important thing is, if you're doing an SVG, is you change this to SVG. If you leave it on one of these silhouette things, it will not work for you. You must change it to SVG, and then you'll be able to open it in Cricut Design Space. Do remember that it may not come sized in the same size you made it, so you might need to change its size to have it work well. But anyway, so that's pretty much it. It's really easy peasy to make these things. Once you get the hang of it, join us in the Patreon classes. If you have an extra $10 a month, that's all it costs. We get together once a week for an hour, and we have classes. Oftentimes before the class, I'll send out projects for you to work on. Say, for example, maybe I would have sent this out, and I would say, okay, we're going to do him, we're going to make him, we're going to work with his nodes, we're going to change him into an SVG, we're going to add some text on a curve around him or something like that. He goes, okay. Uh-oh, uh-oh, uh-oh. Uh-oh, Tammy, are you leaving? Tammy, you gotta go? Did she leave? Tammy. I'm sure if y'all are reading the text, you see that Tammy's little grandson broke his foot, somewhere on his foot, and he has to go and have it checked now because they got to figure out if they're going to have to do surgery or put a cast on it or whatever. So, Tammy, if you have to leave, go on. I'll talk to you later this evening. Okay, do I have to make this a compound path? That's a good idea, yes. Because look, even though these are like this, if I go ahead and I go to Object, make a compound path, it changed the color of this, but I can easily change it back to orange before I send it to Design Space. Let me show you something right quick for those of you who do have a Cricut machine. Let me undo that for a minute, go back to where it was still the way it was. Okay, so right now it's just grouped together. It's not a compound path. So what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to go ahead and duplicate this one by just hitting the Alt and the plus. Now this one on the right, I'm going to make this, oh, okay. All right, Tammy, good. All right, this one right here, I'm going to go to Object, Make Compound Path. Turned it to a different color, but I can turn it back to orange the way I want it to do. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab both of these, and I think we're going to be able to see a good little test right here. I'm going to go to File, Save Selection, because I don't want to save all this extra junk over here. I just want to save what I've just selected just now. So Save Selection, save it to my hard drive, and I'll name it just Pumpkin Test. Whoopsie, testy. And I'm going to remember now I got to save it as an SVG for Cricut Design Space. Saving it in my downloads, that's where I save everything. Pumpkin Test. So now I'm going to open Cricut Design Space. And I'm going to go to New Project, make this larger. I'll go to Upload, upload an image. Browse. Should be the last one down here, I'm hoping. Oh no, it's not. Pumpkin Test, huh? And I did do as a SVG. Y'all are probably seeing it. Maybe it's the first one. Yep, there it is. Okay. Pumpkin Test. Okay, now here we have it. The one on the right I saved, or I made it a compound path. Is that correct? Yeah. So I'm going to save, and I'm going to insert. Okay, so now we have two different things here, and if I ungroup them, you're going to be able to see. I better come up here and do it. So this one right here, when I click on it, look over at the Layers panel. Look what makes up this piece right here. One thing in the Layers panel. One thing. However, on the one I did not make a compound path, whoa, let me group that first. What I just did doesn't really matter, but what does matter is this. Look how many pieces make up this over here. Look at all these things in this Layers panel. Every single one of these cuts is part of this pumpkin. And all of these little cuts like this could drive our Cricut machines nuts. Not necessarily when it's trying to cut, but when it's trying to be imported into here to be useful. So that's the difference. So thank you for reminding me that yes, it's best if you do make it a compound path at the end. This will still work. It will just tax your machine a lot. See, they're both the same, except for this one that I moved that little part. But they're both the same. It's just this one lists every single little cut it makes, and this one just says it's one cut. And if we go to make it, maybe I needed to wait, cancel. I wonder if I needed to, let me see, maybe I need to attach this so it stays together. Make, there we go. So I attached it and it stayed together now, but notice they're exactly the same thing. So again, you know, just save it as a compound path, and that will alleviate making your Cricut Design Space work an extra little bit to import or insert or upload the image. So guess that's it. Does anybody else have any questions? Okay, so now, just to remind you what you need to do, if you weld it on Cricut, won't it be one piece? Yes, you just have to make sure when you weld it that that you're only welding the exact same colors together, because just like a welder, when I was teaching about welding in Cricut Design Space, when a welder welds a bunch of metals together, he melts it all together and it all changes into the same thing, the same color. So you can't weld something that's orange with something that's blue with something that's pink, because it'll all turn into the darkest color probably. So anyway, great, I'm glad. Thanks, Crystal. Please tell your friends too. So let me refresh your memory now. To try to get involved or try to win the Cameo 4, pull you up this way, if I can show you. A little higher. Okay. Oopsie. Okay, so I'm giving a, did I say, yeah, Cameo 4. I'm going to give away a Cameo 4. We've had people entering because it's been going on for about 2 or 3 weeks now. All you have to do is subscribe to this channel, to my YouTube channel, and go over to my website, pattyannsplace.blog, and sign up for the newsletter. I'm not going to drive you nuts with a bunch of newsletters, I promise. I really just try to do it if there's something new coming out, something I think you'd be interested in hearing. So that's all you have to do to be eligible to win the Cameo 4. Sign up on my blog at pattyannsplace.blog and subscribe to the video, or subscribe to my YouTube channel. And I really hope you'll like it and give it a thumbs up as well. So, anybody have any questions? This will be done. I was going to only let you have until midnight tonight, Eastern Standard Time. But since I had so much trouble with all my lives, you have until 9 p.m. tomorrow, October 1st, Eastern Standard Time. Boop. That's what time you have, until 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to subscribe to this channel, and please give it a thumbs up, and also to subscribe to the newsletter. When you go to my blog, there's going to be a pop-up there, and that's only if you want to take some free classes. You can X that out. It'll probably come up every time you come into my blog. Just X it out. But if you want to take the free classes, they're really terrific. But the most important part is you sign up for the newsletter, and you'll have to hit, actually I could show you maybe right quick. Why don't I do that? Hang on. Okay. So, as I said, there'll be a pop-up that might come up, and it looks like this. It's Getting Started with Silhouette, 5 Easy Steps. And actually, these steps, if you're new to Silhouette or you're, struggling with yours, I recommend these classes. They start you with understanding a little bit about the tools, and the last one is about tracing and making SVGs, like something like what we did today. So you can sign up for that if you want to. I'm not going to spam you with a bunch of junk mail or anything, but just X that out. And what you have to do to be eligible to win the Cameo is you need to come to this place that says newsletter right here in the center. Click on newsletter. Scroll down, and there's just a place right here. It says put in your first name, your email address, and subscribe. And that's all you have to do to join the newsletter. And by the way, once you join the newsletter, you'll get the code or the secret password for a protected area where we're just starting to put some free, I think I just typed it in wrong maybe. I didn't. Okay, where we're starting to put some free SVGs. This was a beautiful shirt I had on yesterday with a cross and a heart that's made out of rhinestones. So there's some of the things that I've been doing recently, or that Tammy has been doing recently, are in here. Isn't that pretty? That's the shirt I had on yesterday. That's rhinestones. It's so pretty. So anyway, And then also, of course, if you win the Cameo 4, you might want to go here to get this little SVG so that you can fancy yours up if you want to somehow or sometime. So, okay, I guess that's it. Does anybody have any questions? Yep, haven't received one yet. What, the newsletter? Carmen, I'll have to double check. Tammy, you and I have been double checking on that. I think we did see that she was signed up. Oh, Leona, how do you like the free classes? Have you found them to be beneficial? I hope so. How often do the newsletters go out? You know what, Carmen? There's no set amount of times those go out. I just do them whenever I start thinking I have something interesting to say. So they don't go out, you know, like once a week, once every 2 weeks or anything like that. Let's see, what else is here? Aw, thanks, Rebecca. So draw, okay. I know, thank you. I'm so glad I got the live sorted out too. I guess threatening your husband helps. Shh, don't tell him. Let's see what else. Carmen signed up for it twice but hasn't gotten it yet. Okay. Well, we'll have your name over there anyway, even if you haven't gotten the newsletter. If you've signed up, we've got your name. Okay. Okay. Oh, Mary, that's so kind of you. Mary said, but you always have something interesting to say. Okay, let's see. Yeah, Carmen, I do that sometimes too. And I have so many different email addresses, I drive myself crazy. Great. I'm glad you liked it. Thanks, P. Parks. Don't forget to sign up, subscribe, like, and sign up for the newsletter. Somebody's going to win. Not sure if I'll do the drawing tomorrow night or Tuesday. Wait, that'll be Wednesday morning then, because today's Monday, right? Yeah. Thank you, Betsy. All right, I guess that's about it. I better get off of here before I do crash again, right? So thanks again for finding me, you guys. I'm so sorry that once again I put you on a wild goose chase. I guess the weather wasn't my fault, but some of the other stuff is my fault. So I'm learning though. Keep with me. See you again soon. Bye.